here and said it's not just about, it's about oil. And they are the whole regime, the whole country is a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going in and out until they return what they stole from us. What did they steal? And what do you make of this?
Yeah, well, what makes it that Iran is involved on that, and Russia's involved on that, and China as well too. I mean, a lot of those things. I mean, that's sanctioned oil right now, and those are the kinds of funds that support regions like in Iran as well too. And now, absolutely, right now, it's not a plan to like a land war and invade Venezuela and that, but seizing those kinds of oil tankers, and it's undeniable that that's oil that's going to support Iran, and those are the kinds of funds that are used all kinds of illicit things, so terrorism. So for me, it makes a lot of sense, at least by what I've seen.
Senator,
Hell has frozen over in Washington. A top Democrat just broke ranks to back President Trump's most aggressive foreign policy move yet. The blockade is on, and the support is bipartisan. The order came down with the weight of a sledgehammer. President Trump has officially designated the Maduro regime as a foreign terrorist organization, a label that carries severe, crushing consequences. But he didn't stop at words. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the global energy market, the president ordered a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers entering or leaving Venezuelan waters. This is not a drill. This is a kinetic economic strike designed to neutralize the regime's lifeline. The accusation is grave: the systematic theft of American oil assets, the financing of illicit narcotics operations, and the facilitation of human trafficking networks. By treating these tankers as hostile entities, the administration is effectively cutting the arteries of a regime that has long operated with impunity. The message to the world is undeniable. The era of looking the other way is officially over. In a political landscape defined by bitter division, what happened next on News Nation was nothing short of extraordinary. Senator John Fetterman, a man who typically sits on the opposite side of the aisle, appeared on national television, not to condemn the president, but to validate him. After receiving a private, classified briefing on the situation, Fetterman publicly endorsed the blockade. He didn't mince words. He described the involvement of adversarial nations, specifically Iran, Russia, and China, in propping up the Venezuelan oil trade as a direct threat to stability. Instead of calling for de-escalation, Fetterman argued that cutting off these illicit funds makes strategic sense. He framed it as the only logical step to prevent the funding of global terror operations without committing American troops to a ground invasion. It was a stunning moment of clarity, a prominent Democrat admitting that on this issue, the America First approach is the correct approach. To understand why this blockade is critical, we have to look at the shadows behind the Maduro regime. This isn't just about Venezuela. It is about a coalition of hostile actors using South America as a staging ground. Intelligence indicates that the oil revenues aren't just feeding the local populace. They are being siphoned off to fuel a much darker machine. We are talking about the financing of proxy groups and the solidification of influence by Iran and Russia in the Western Hemisphere. The ghost fleet of tankers moving this oil operates in the dark, bypassing sanctions to keep the cash flowing to bad actors. By implementing a hard blockade, the United States is essentially dismantling a financial hub for global instability. Senator Fetterman's acknowledgement of this reality highlights a terrifying truth. The threat has grown so large that even partisan lines are beginning to blur in the face of national security necessity. The fallout from this endorsement is already reshaping the narrative in Washington. For years, the standard response to strong executive action was outrage and obstruction. But Fetterman's break from the party line signals a potential fracture in the opposition's wall. It forces a difficult question onto the rest of the Democratic establishment. If the intelligence is clear enough to convince John Fetterman, how can others justify inaction? This moment vindicates a foreign policy doctrine that prioritizes strength and economic leverage over appeasement. As the blockade tightens and the pressure mounts on the Maduro regime, the American public is seeing something rare, a glimpse of unity when it comes to neutralizing foreign threats. President Trump has drawn a line in the sand, and surprisingly, he's found an ally in one of the most unlikely places. The game has changed.